Good morning, everybody. Automotive Inc. here. Today we are going to talk about interior odors, something that stinks. And a while back I did a video because I had the same stench inside my 24 Super Duty. And a lot of times I would ask, if you have that odor, does it come when you turn on the vent, the air, the heater, and if right before that, use the windshield washer fluid. Now, some people put whatever they want in there, or if you go to the gas station and you use one of their window scrubbers, I would highly encourage you not to use those. I've seen people actually cleaning the mud off of their car, and those don't wring out all that well, and they can scratch your car. And I see people use the same thing to clean off their headlights and scratch them up. But nonetheless, that'd be a different story, different time. But a lot of times that stinky scraper fluid that's in those buckets seeps down into this little vent right here. And if you have that odor and you haven't used one of those, did you just use your washer fluid? Because a lot of times the cheaper the washer fluid, or if the cap is loose and dirt and organics can get into the washer fluid area, it's going to stink. And eventually it runs through those lines, and guess what? It kind of contaminates all of your washer fluid, and you got to deal with that over time. And then there's still some type of organic down in the bottom. Now there's a lot of ways to work through this issue, and I would start here. So this is going to be how you're going to get rid of stinky washer fluid. Now, I like white vinegar for a lot of things. One, it's not all that bad on anything. It'll take water spots off. It can kill odors. I've seen people make spray bottles and spray that grill. But if you don't like the smell of vinegar, then you're going to have to try a different method. Now, I would say to at least take a half cup of white vinegar and dump it into the fluid bottle and let it sit for a little bit. Now, I ran it through the truck, but every time I used the washer fluid, it did kind of smell a lot like vinegar, and it takes a little bit to dissipate. So somebody said, well, I wouldn't want to do that because I hate the smell of vinegar. Okay, well, the reason why we'd use vinegar is to kill whatever kind of organic in there, or help cleanse that, okay? If it cuts grease, it can cut grime, it can cut stuff off. It's a good little thing to put in the system. I've heard some people say they want to put baking soda in here. I'd highly say not to do that. That can clog these little pumps that are in there, or chew up the diaphragm in there to pump, or whatever. So instead, if you want, I would let that vinegar, dump it in there and let it sit. If you're okay with that smell, just run it through. Don't top off your windshield washer bottle with more fluid. Just run it out what is in there. The other thing is somebody says, well, I would rather just take water and flood it out. Well, I would say that there's probably a slim possibility you're going to still get everything out of there. That's why you need to put some type of cleanser in there. And vinegar is very natural. Obviously, we can use it in cooking. You basically drink it. So it's not going to destroy anything, but what it will do is get it out. Now, the only other option is even if you flood with water, you got to get the water out of there, especially if you live in cold climates. Cold water will freeze and then split that reservoir, and you're talking about a very expensive fix no matter what vehicle you have. So I bought this pump years ago, guys. This is less than $10. This is a suction pump. And you can get it on the Zon. So if you go down in the description, scroll down a little bit further, I will put a thing on there saying suction pump or transfer pump, whatever you want to call this. And you can click that link, head over and snag this. And like I said, this is made to transfer everything up to fluids like oil, gas, stuff like that. If you do use this for gas later, make sure you purge it with some Dawn dishwater or something before you inadvertently put the upper hose into something you don't want to transfer and actually cross-contaminate that. But this is basically a suction pump. You're going to put one end of the hose basically into the reservoir. And you can do this by yourself, guys. You can pop this open. A lot of times organics get in there because these get left off. Flies, bugs, stuff like that. The fluid could actually just get moldy if the car sits around for a little bit. Creates mildew. So you're going to shove that tube in there. Just read the instructions on your pump exactly, but typically the one that's at the top of the handle is going to be the one where you want to stick in the fluid, and then the lower hose just needs to typically be lower than that. And once you get the pump started, you're just going to actuate this plunger here up and down, up and down. As long as this is lower, this will probably run out on its own, but in these car configurations, a lot of times you're just going to keep pumping it till it comes out. Now luckily this will pump a gallon of windshield washer fluid in just a few minutes, but once you get it all out, then if you want to flood it with water to kind of just purge out the rest of the vinegar, then just repeat the same process. It does come with smaller hoses and fittings and everything like that, so if you need to get further down, it does come with a little rubber hose, and you're just going to pump all of this out. Once you do that, then go ahead and splash your new windshield washer fluid in there. And I would encourage you guys just to get one that's rated for your weather. So if you live in a colder climate, get one that doesn't freeze. They have summer blends, they have winter blends. I just typically just run Rain-X or whatever in there. But and then if you happen to leave the lid off that bottle and something gets in it, I would just dispose of it because it already has organics in it. So again, I don't have a malodor yet on this vehicle. I just had it on the Ford. But this is basically the process that you're going to do. Once you get it done, like I said, if you're going to purge it with water, and I know somebody said, well, just overflow it with water. Well, in the Ford, there's a bunch of fabric insulation down here, and that is just going to get onto that and make that stink. So I didn't want to just purge it out, so I just sucked it out with the suction pump and then topped it off. And usually you're not going to be able to see the bottom in this, but the hose will go down all that way. So hopefully that does give you an opportunity to see what could be going on, because again, if you hadn't had an odor and all of a sudden you have an odor, more than likely it's coming through the fresh air vent. I mean, there could be a rodent, there could be something in here that's making it stink. There could be a cabin air filter, but a lot of time it has to do with your windshield washer fluid or something that's coming in through that, because that is your fresh air vent for your air intake system or HVAC system in your car. And so again, like I said, you want to get it out of there. This is a suction pump one. You can give it a shot. And again, as always, guys, don't forget to smash the subscribe button. If you have a question or want to know how to do something, make sure you comment below in this video. Don't mind a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind, and hit the notification bell so you know I'm posting new content. And as always, again, I always try and link what I'm using in the garage, because I try and find a good product for inexpensive means. So this was a good link to hit and go over and check it out. Appreciate you guys being here. We'll catch you on the next one.